Hey everybody, Coach BK here. Wanted to make a video on supporting your triathlete and some different thoughts and different perspectives on how to support them well. So one of the things that I do in my coaching philosophy is that I encourage them to set goals that they can't currently do at this point in time. So the braving karma idea is that people are brave enough to set out and do things that they can't do. They want the growth. They want to evolve into the person that can accomplish these great things, big things. I started triathlon with severe swim anxiety, so much so that I would just freak out, panic, couldn't see, couldn't hear. My first triathlon was in a YMCA pool that was 4 feet deep, that you didn't have any chance of drowning in, freaking out, like a large anxiety attack, like post-traumatic stress. I almost drowned when I was little. So signing up for Ironman Wisconsin, which at that time was a mass swim start, was completely the most ludicrous idea ever, right? At that point in time, there was no way that I could have accomplished it. I could barely swim 3 laps and not like almost have an apoplexy. Okay, so my coaching philosophy is to try to figure out how to encourage them to set goals that are outside their means at this point in time, but are safe, right? Meaning, they're not going to get hurt if they do the training. The only downside is maybe they don't quote unquote finish or whatever. But the biggest thing behind the coaching philosophy of BK coaching, Braving Karma, is that it's the journey. The journey is where the meat and potatoes are at. We set the goal, but the goal is something out there to strive for, to work on the little lessons along the way, which are so much more valuable than the goal itself. The journey is really where it's at. Half Ironman, Ironman, in the circles that we run in, there's a book, there's this, there's that, there's this large group of people that like to say, oh yeah, you can do it, just sign up, which is not the case. Some of us have limitations. Some of us have things that get in the way that people either don't understand, don't really, give credit for how much it slows us down. So I'm a 3-time Ironman finisher. My last Ironman, Texas. I had 2 heart surgeries before that. Okay. And so on the surface, I looked like, yeah, you can do it. Easy peasy. Texas might be easier than Wisconsin, yada, 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 right? You got this. But people don't kind of understand some of the limitations, or if we talk about a little bit stronger, some of the things that hold us back: self-doubt, not feeling good enough, weight issues, medical issues, hold us back. Some of these things people don't see. Some of these demons, these monsters, people don't see. The whole I'm not good enough, most of us are walking around with that. Our society is kind of breeding that I'm not good enough. And then so we come to the triathlon world. We come to Ironman, half Ironman, whatever. And while we sign up for the race, deep down, the heartfelt soul goal, from your heart, is that you want to be more you. Less of the limiting beliefs, less of the self-doubt, just more you. And so, yeah, we want the bling. We want to finish the race. That's kind of a surface goal. But deep down, most of us are wanting something deeper. And a lot of people don't understand or lose sight of that. it's easy to lose sight when you're training for a marathon or training for a half Ironman or an Ironman that it's all about the race. And so for those of you supporting these triathletes, I would encourage you to try to keep in mind that it's not just about a race. For me, in training for Ironman Texas, I really had no business doing that. It would have been safer to not train for Ironman Texas. My heart surgeries weren't successful, and it was a safer avenue to not. But I decided that I was going to use the platform, use the challenge in order to learn some things, to learn how to find middle ground, to learn how to always give the best that I could. And for me, my best would be different than somebody else's best, because I have X, Y, and Z that I have to deal with. They have X, Y, and Z they have to deal with. Everybody is dealing with something. And so, signing up for that crazy, crazy goal, I was trying to cultivate this mentality of being able to do the best that I could regardless of what's going on. Did that mean pushing through a workout, or did that mean pulling back from a workout? That was the gray area. That was the hard lesson, still learning the hard lesson. And then, I had some other things that I was working on, very personal goals that I was using the Ironman training cycle, the race, getting to it, the whole thing. I was using that to cultivate some inner steel, but some love and grace as well, kind of a nice dance and balance between the two. And so just keep in mind that the folks that are signing up for these hard things, if they're really overweight and signing up for a half Ironman, or they've had a lot of surgeries and they're signing up for Ironman, just know that there's things underneath that they are really working on that their heartstrings are completely tied into. And so, looking at them and supporting them with so much grace and so much brilliance and so much positivity, but it needs to be real. It can't be like candy coated, because most of us don't like that. And trying to really keep out your judgment of can they do it, can they not do it? Because that's really not your place as a supporter. Your supporter is, hey, how you doing? How you feeling? How can I help you? You're freaking awesome. Hey, yo, do you need some help? And being super, super duper positive in an authentic way, and really putting your judgment away, because your judgment of them and possibly your own self-doubt feeds into theirs. And the number one thing that ruins the journey, that holds them back from learning the things that they need to learn, learning the God-gifted lessons, is self-doubt. And people, sometimes these people aren't strong enough to combat the judgment of everybody around them, especially if you're sharing space, like sharing space, you know what I mean? Like in your house. If you have a lot of self-doubt, if you have a lot of doubt or judgment that they can't do it, and, it's the person that they're sleeping with, let me tell you, it takes a heck of a strong person to combat their own self-doubt and your doubt and your kind of underneath judgments of it. Be very, very careful with your thought processes underneath and how that filters through. I was completely gifted. When I set out to do Ironman Texas, it was pretty hard stuff I was trying to work on. I was overweight. The medication had kind of decimated my health. My heart health was decimated. But underneath it all, I knew that I was still a rock star. I was incredibly slower. But my self-doubt in that, like, oh, now I'm not as good because I'm slower and blah, blah, blah. That's the stuff that is like BS. You're still in the game. You're still showing up. That's the win, right? We need to be very, very, very careful what we're defining as success, what we're defining as goals, yes, completing a race, getting the bling is super duper important. However, there's a different mindset when you're being brave enough to take on the journey, pick up the lessons along the way, because hopefully you gain so much on the journey that the race and the end result is just a bonus, right? You've done all the hard work. You've learned the lessons that you were kind of set out, that you were destined to learn on that training cycle. And so when you show up on race day, magic happens. That magic that you were brave enough to do all the lessons along the way, and you get to race day and you have become that person that can do it. You get to race day and you can already do it. Yeah, you sort of have to prove and get the bling that you did it. But the way I coach and the way I encourage people, they get to race day and they are already successful. They can already do it. Okay? And so that it's a beautiful process to watch, and they gain so much. The people around them are critical. It is critical to support yourself. So I was given a gift of meeting a guy that, you know, I'm now, his name's Derek. I usually call him Dude, sorry. He had no idea about triathlon. And deciding to date and pick up a relationship when you're training for Ironman is a bad idea. Don't do it. But he didn't know anything about triathlon. I think that this was an advantage for him because he's one of the most super positive people that I have ever met. And the support that he gave me was out of this world because I wanted to work on a skill that really wasn't triathlon related. I wanted to treat myself like I'm good enough, to get over how we kind of are super critical of ourselves, either of the limitations that we have or blah, 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 right? I wanted to learn how to give the best that I can, to be in balance, to do what is right for me at the time. I can't tell you how many people thought that they knew what I needed to do with my heart health, with my weight health, and how many times that I heard people say, you need to do this and you need to do that and da 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 da. It was incredibly difficult to accomplish what I set out to do because I had to tune everything out. And I already knew that I could do an Ironman. But it was really tough to listen to all these different opinions about how I was pushing too hard, how I was doing this, how I was doing that. Like everybody kind of knew what was best for me. And granted, they were doing it out of love, but it was also filtered in with their own beliefs, their own judgments of judging me, judging what I was doing. And we do this. We judge a lot. We have to be super, super, super duper careful of what is our stuff that we project onto people, what is our judgments based on love and stuff, and where we can find a space that we're really looking at without limitations with them. What if the best things happened and they did the best that they could, and support them like that? Not historically what you think you know about that person, or like if you're husband and wife, that can be a real pickle. Being able to support them in a way that you're believing in miracles too. You're believing in the pixie dust too. You're believing in, you have no idea what's going to happen, but you're set this goal. They have set this goal. They need your support. They need you to say, you know, sometimes you need to call BS and say, yo, you need to get up and get out the door. You know, if they have a bad workout, just say, okay, it happens. It's not a reflection on the end game. Learn the lesson, get yourself back up, get back out there, okay? Being super duper positive, because this stuff is tough, and especially if you're working with some inner demons, some monsters that are gremlins in your mind, you got to be super duper supportive. Derek was so supportive of me and acknowledging my efforts and acknowledging the heart and really just saying super positive things to me. It meant a lot, and it feeds into the energy and the self-confidence and the bravery that they need to borrow. I loan out bravery and self-confidence and energy to them all the time, because they are learning how to combat self-doubt. They are learning how to have that be less. They are learning how to focus on they are a rock star. And for those of you supporting them, you need to feed into their account, their bucket of they're a rock star. They were brave enough to sign up, do the work, and so help them out with that, with really just focusing on positive, making sure that you're keeping the judgment and your own doubt and all of that stuff. Keep that on the down low. Be so supportive, so bright to them that they have to wear shades. Love them, support them. And then watch the awesome stuff that happens. I can't tell you how many times I have just completely fascinated. And I love to watch the process of them becoming more them, less self-doubt, more confident. It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing to watch. So I hope that you get that gift as well when you're supporting your person, and it will gift you as well. Have a great day. Namaste.